Hey, what's up, guys? Welcome back to Emlyn in the Mix, Season 2, Episode 50, the last episode for 2021. We made it. We made it to Episode 50. I'm very happy, and I'm so glad you could join me. Thank you so much for everyone who's supported this podcast this year, who's come back on a weekly basis to check out the latest and greatest in music technology. You can probably see in the background here, if you're watching on YouTube, we're going to be talking about the plugin of the year. It is, of course, Baby Audio's amazing spaced out plugin. We did cover it on the podcast a little while ago, but Baby Audio are no strangers to this podcast. They're definitely friends of the podcast, and they have supported me in the past. And I really just want to go over again why this one plugin of the year, voted by Future Music, of course. It may not be your favorite plugin, but it is an incredible plugin nonetheless, and we're going to talk about why that is, and we're going to just have a little jam. We're just going to do things differently. Not so much news, of course, and I'm doing this podcast on a different day. It is the holiday season. It is what it is, guys. But for those of you who are new to the plugin, for those of you who are new to this podcast, it is, of course, not just about plugins, but it is about music gear, music technology, studio recording, all of that jazz. We cover it here on the podcast. And next year, we're going to have an amazing season. So definitely subscribe today, because we're going to cover so much cool stuff next year as we move along into the future. It's been an amazing year. This year's been amazing, so I can't imagine how much more amazing 2022 is going to be in terms of the music world and technology. And the way things are evolving is such an interesting industry, because obviously, there's a lot of craziness going on in the world that, everybody is aware of how crazy the world is right now. But it is fascinating to see that the music industry is still managing to thrive, even though we had a lockdown and a pandemic and people can't go out and do that sort of thing. People are still creating, and it's just great to have these innovative tools that we can use in our studios to create. And the whole reason for this podcast is to ensure that music continues to prosper. I am passionate about music and creating music, and that music production prospers into the future. So that's what this podcast is about, is to help inspire you, check out new gear, and get you excited about making music, more or less. So let's just get stuck into the podcast today. If you want to support the channel, support link down below. And I love getting your feedback. If you want to leave me a feedback after this podcast, you can do it right now in the podcast app. But let's listen to the podcast first, of course. All right, let's get stuck into why is Baby Audio's Spaced Out Future Music's plugin of the year, and Future Music being probably the biggest of all, music tech, studio recording tech, media, I guess you could call it. I don't know if there's a better word for that, but they, their review stands basically. It, voted by many people in the Future Music community. This plugin has one plugin of the year. Now, again, we did cover it a little while ago, but let me just read a little bit about what it actually is if you missed that podcast, or you just want to hear it again and you enjoy this plugin so much. So this is reading it off the Baby Audio website here. Spaced Out is a lush, wet FX generator built for sending your sounds and vocals into weightless, heavenly orbit. It combines a crystalline reverb engine with a wealth of modulation options and a 16-step delay sequencer. In total, more than 50 individual effects come together in a singular creative experience with endless outcomes and zero submenus. Spaced Out hosts an automatic generate function, which will create new textures at the click of a button and give you fresh ideas for where to take your tracks. And we'll see you on the flip side. This is coming from their website, of course. If you're looking here on the video here on YouTube, you'll be able to see. Now, if you listen to the podcast, you can always come over to the YouTube channel, Emlyn in the Mix, same name as the podcast, #subscribe. But you can see the GUI there in front of us, the old GUI. They don't have no Emlyn in the Mix videos here. Shame on you, Baby Audio. Shame on you. No, just kidding. All good. Check out these videos if you want to see some more different takes, perspectives on this plugin. But look, even the words here, they speak out for themselves. So dope, spaced out, coolest vocal effect. And in 2021, we really did. I know in this podcast we covered a lot of analog emulation, synthesizers and that sort of thing, but effects was also really, really big. And actually, I've been meaning to show you guys RX9 because RX9 is phenomenal by Isotope in terms of just effects and being able to manipulate sound. There was a really big resurgence in 2021, and a lot of these plugins and creative effects plugins became really, I mean, everything's becoming better, and analog emulation and so forth, but effects plugins as well seem to have a resurgence in popularity in 2021. And it's not just about playing with new synthesizers and sounds. Creating effects and interesting sort of different ways to sort of break down your track can also be very inspirational as well. And Baby Audio Spaced Out fit the bill in terms of being the number one in terms of creativity. And we're going to show you just why, because I've got a little track hooked up here in a sec. We'll have just a little jam and play around with the plugin. But let's see some of the features here. So Spaced Out offers a pristine sounding one-stop solution for your wet effects needs on drums, instruments, and vocals, and basically use it on anything. I've got it on the master track today, actually, on this track I'm about to show you. So use it subtly to add depth and movement, or go explore the outer bounds of wet effects processing. So echoes. So there's a few different modules inside this plugin, which you're going to see. So you got echoes, which is a 16-step delay sequencer sync to the DAW's tempo. It's got different modes: straight, 2x, dotted, and triplet. Intensity sets the sequence's behavior through sustain and feedback controls. Dimension, off, ultra wide, and motion modes. Texture, clean, wonky tape, lo-fi, and hazy modes. Reverses the delay playback, and filter analog modeled low and high pass filters. And then you've got the space module, which is an XY based joystick control, which you can sort of move around for intuitively morphing between reverb length and modulation behavior. If you're watching on the video, I'll move my hand for you. Programs, vacuum, small space, medium space, outer space. Pre-delay 0 to 250 milliseconds. Stardust adds an angelic sustained shimmer to the reverb tail. Mellow, dual low and high-end dampening filter. And cleanup feeds an altered dry signal into the reverb algorithm for a cleaner and less dense response. Width sets the reverb width between wide and mono, obviously giving a more stereo feel. Then you've got the central mixer. So the mixer XY joystick control for seamlessly morphing between echoes and space. And then you get generate musically tuned randomizing functions for instantly generating new effects. Configurations. Liftoff glues the wet signal together through a combination of compression, mid-side processing, and EQ. It's also got a ducker on it, which is a side chain style compression. Ducks the wet signal when the dry signal is playing. Ducker also syncs the ducker to your DAW, ducker being the suction sort of sound effect. DAW's BPM for a pumping 4 on the floor effects, and get that, you know what the side chain sound effect. If you don't know what that is, look up what side chaining is. And then output controls the global effects output. So a space echo for the 21st century. It is no secret that we at Baby Audio are obsessed with the quirks, sounds, and simplicity of vintage analog gear. With every software product we make, we hope to offer a little bit of that same hands-on experience and instant gratification, never by emulating the past, but by tapping into the spirit to invent something new. And that's exactly what Baby Audio does. It does something new, it inspires you, and that's why we're going to look at it today. Anyway, I think you get the idea. It shows, if you check it out here on the website, you can see the signal flow and there's some audio demos and stuff. But we're going to go straight over to my little track here, my music session. You can see I've got it up on the screen. And again, I know we've looked at this in the past, but seeing it as the plugin of 2021, we're celebrating. It's the last podcast of the year. I'm going to have a break after this. And I think it'd be a bit of fun to just check this out, have a listen to what exactly it is doing. So I got my little track here. I think I've turned Spaced Out off. Let me just move Spaced Out there so you can see the whole thing. All right, cool. Spaced Out is off. This is just a little loop I've got going here, so you can hear it there. So just a very easy little loop that I've put together. I've actually used, what have I used here? Mixed in Keys Captain plugins, just to get a little groove going, more or less. All right, so let's turn Spaced Out on and we'll have a play with the spaced out section mixer here. So we got dry down the bottom. So if you're looking there on the video, you can see dry is down the bottom. It's on this XY joystick, and I'll push it up into the wet, and you'll hear this is essentially more or less just one of the first presets, which is called clean start here. So we'll hear this echoes, which is over on the left, and this space where it is here, we'll hear it mixing in. So here we go. So you can hear as I push it into the wet and then I move it between the space and the echo, I can either have the echo going, just the echo, have a listen. Or I can just have the space going, which is over here. Or I can just have both in the middle. And you got your ducker down here as well. Just putting the output up there a bit. It really is an incredible sounding effect. And you got so many nice little clean options. It's all here, very easy to see. You can see I'm just having a jam out with it there. And you've got these little randomizer dice things on each thing, so I can generate more or less a totally different presets. We'll generate a few here. And I really like how you can just add, you got your width here on your space as well. It is just, I can see why this is the most favorited music tech plugin of the year, because honestly, it is very easy to use. And I can feel myself getting sucked into the universe of Spaced Out, because it's just really fun to just get your sounds just really, sounding quite authentically different, authentically different. I don't know what I'm saying, but different more or less, and you can apply this as on a master. So we might be getting, some odd sort of everything sort of mushed together, but let's try it. For example, let's just try it on a beat here. I'm going to get it on. So I'm just trying to move it there on the screen. If you're watching, I'm pushing it down there, but let's have a look. There's our beat. So this is just on the beat at the moment. So you could just have it subtly like this on a beat. You got a filter as well, low pass and high pass for the echo, which is pretty cool. We'll introduce another instrument. Okay, here's our other beat as well. I forgot we had two beats going. So you can hear just on beats how good it sounds. Or just a bit of space on that beat, a tiny bit of echo. Even just a touch like that is quite nice, because you can hear the clicks are actually going into that reverb and the echo. Let me just see if I can put those two together. Put it back in the center of our screen here. See what's going on. And can you hear, actually it's really cool. I got the reverse switch on here on the echo, and that's just so nice. I don't know if you can hear that. Yeah, you can hear it. Of course you can hear that. Whoa. Ah, that's mad. You can change your textures as well. Wonky tape and your dimension. Almost giving it more of a stereo width. All right, bring it back. Bring our instruments back. I want to try it with the instruments on. Let's turn our beats off. All right, so here we've just got this sort of synth instrument I've got going here. You could just have it subtly like that though. So we've got that reverse echo going. And you can actually turn off your modules here as well. And that way you can hear, like if I just turn on space, for example, I can hear how much it's actually doing with the way I've got it set up. But look, all in all, you can really see why this is a really fun plugin and how you can actually just get sucked into just messing around with it. And it's so easy. Everything's on the front panel here. You got your different modes up here as well, which are going to change the way the echo is being played back. Your 2x, your straight, your dotted, and your triplet, like we said before, and your different programs for spaced out. Sorry, for the space module as well. Small space, medium space, outer space, which is going to be just ridiculous reverb tail going. Let's have a listen to that actually. So this is going into the space one. That's sick. Turn echoes off. We'll do a small vacuum. Small space, I mean. Yeah, medium space and an outer space. Yeah, okay. It really gives it a huge sort of lush reverb tail. Let's check out just off the cuff here. We'll check out some of the presets. Flange Bliss. I'll put our beats back in. Nice. Trap Bell Spice. That's good, that's subtle. Motion slap. That's cool too, and I could just bring it dry like this. Sorry, I keep bringing the GUI down. Try to keep it up for you guys here on the video. That's sick. That sounds so good. It's got a bit of like tape sort of modulation going on it. That's lush pads. Look, I don't want to make you guys go crazy on that little loop I've made there. I should have probably had a full song for you guys today, but you get the idea. I mean, look, I have covered this, of course, before, but that is so much fun. That's the problem with playing with a plugin like this on a podcast like this on a YouTube video like this, is that I will leave you guys. I won't be there with you because I'm going into another world with Spaced Out, and that's why I can see why that won plugin of the year as voted by Future Music. Just such an innovative plugin. It was really good to revisit it today, and I hope to use this more in my tracks. It is a fantastic plugin. I look at so much software through the year and quite a bit of hardware as well that sometimes, you know, I not necessarily forget about them, but I move on to so many different products that I don't get to actually revisit stuff as much as I would like to. And it was so nice to check out Baby Audio's Spaced Out today. And yeah, I'm going to be using this far more often now. Now that I really like the sound of the reverb. Actually, this is my own opinion now. The reverb on this sounds really good. I use some other reverbs for plugins, but I could definitely see myself using this. And the fact that it has so much options in terms of being able to, either turn on the echo, turn off the echo, you wet, dry, and mix in between on the XY joystick just makes it a joy to play with. And then of course you got all your other little sort of effects and parameters down here which you can change. It's a lot of fun. I think the ducker needs to be hooked up to something though, because the ducker doesn't seem to be just automatically going, which I thought it would, but I could be completely wrong. Again, probably need to just learn a little bit more about this plugin, but I absolutely love it and I'm so glad to revisit it today. And I hope it was a joyful podcast for you. I hope this podcast all year was great for you. I know the last couple of podcasts haven't been the usual format, but it's the end of the year. It's holiday season. Things are wrapping up and I've had fun with you guys. I hope you've enjoyed listening to this podcast this year. And please make sure to stay tuned for more new Emlyn in the Mix, which will be coming to you next year. If you've enjoyed this podcast this year, please consider hitting the support link down below, shouting me a coffee. I would really appreciate it. That would be my little Merry Christmas present. And, if you want to leave feedback, I love to read your feedback. You can do that in the podcast app as well, leaving me a 5-star review or whatever you thought the review was worth. And you can leave a little comment. I check all the comments on there. And if you want to reach out to the Emlyn in the Mix podcast, if you're a music dev, software dev, hardware distributor, you want to get your products shown or seen on the podcast and the YouTube channel, then reach out to emlyninthemix@gmail.com. If you're just a listener and you want me to check something out, head to emlyninthemix@gmail.com. Appreciate everyone who's supported the channel and podcast this year. Thank you so much. With that, I'm going to go. Have an awesome holiday season. We'll be back next year with Emlyn in the Mix. In the meantime, I'll be uploading videos on YouTube. So if you want to check out more from Emlyn in the Mix, myself being Emlyn, of course. If you want to check out more from Emlyn in the Mix, head over to the YouTube channel, Emlyn in the Mix. And there'll be videos coming up sporadically there. All right, guys. Thank you so much for joining me. Peace out to 2022. Peace out. Boom.